heaven, we're not going to sin, we're not going to have sinful thoughts, bad thoughts. How did Lucifer think to like go against God? Like how did he decide that like he wanted to be God if he was in heaven and we're not going to have sinful thoughts? And then like with that also goes with like angels. How do they decide to go with the devil? And then is there free will in heaven? Are all angels in heaven or are some outside the realm of heaven? And then how can angels switch from going inside heaven to outside the realm of heaven?
Those are great questions. And I think when it comes to how could Satan have fallen being in the presence of God, first of all, the Bible doesn't really tell us, right? In fact, we don't even know how many angels went with him until like you're in Revelation 13 or something, right? There's not a lot in the Old Testament about the fall of Satan. Some try and say, well, you know, it might be embedded in, say, Isaiah 14 or Isaiah 28, and that's disputed or not when it talks about the king of Babylon and all this. But we don't really know. The Bible doesn't tell us. Although it seems to me it would make sense that in order for God to give these creatures free choice, he had to have some distance between them. He had to give them an opportunity not to see his full glory, but to give them an opportunity to make a decision whether they're going to follow him or not. Because freedom requires the ability to make a choice one way or the other. And if God overwhelms them with his presence, then they might not have that choice.
So is that heaven and the heaven we're going to be in, are those going to be like, are those two different heavens?
Well, our ultimate heaven is a new heaven and a new earth. Yeah. So before the universe was created, God was in heaven, so to speak, his dwelling place. God creates the universe, and heaven ultimately is going to be a renewed earth and a renewed universe where we're going to have physical bodies. We're not going to be Casper the Friendly Ghost. We're going to have physical bodies, glorified bodies that never decay. That's our ultimate destiny. Now, people that die now, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. They, in some sense, go to be with the Lord now, but that's not ultimate heaven. Ultimate heaven is a physical place, not an ethereal place. So it's a different place than where Satan and the angels were, because that was an immaterial realm. This is going to be a physical realm, ultimate heaven. Now, will we have free will in heaven? It seems to me we will, but we'll have, first of all, we won't have a sin nature, and secondly, we won't have any desire to sin because we won't have any need to sin, in the sense that we won't want anything we don't have. We'll have everything we need. The reason we sin now, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, is usually just one of three things, or a combination thereof: sex, money, or power, relationships, finances, or pride, or power, those kind of things. We take shortcuts to get those good things. Those are good things, right? Sex, money, and power are good things. But we take shortcuts to get them here on earth because we don't have them. In heaven, we won't have any deficiencies. We won't have any need to sin. We'll see God for who he is, 1 John 3, 1 and 2, the beatific vision, and there won't be any need to sin or desire to sin.
So with Lucifer, like, did he actually, like, create, like, / start sin?
Lucifer's free choice to disobey God was sinful, yes.
So
and then
where
Adam and
did
Eve.
sin, like, so did God create sin?
No. God creates the possibility of sin by giving us free will. Right? Yeah. But he's not the sinner. Just like when we have children, we create the possibility that children will sin, but when they sin, we don't cause the sin. We just create, we're the instrumental cause through which God creates people. And when we choose to have children, we're not causing them to sin, but we're, by creating them, giving them the opportunity to sin.